Hello there. So we're going to carry on with the FPS template today. Been playing around in this map, adding a bunch of features and fixing a bunch of things into a replicated scenario. And so we're on the third episode now. I've been doing it all day. We're just hammering it out. We're not going to make you wait 3 weeks and do one a week. We're going to do it all today. So the first thing I'm going to say for this session is that we're going to try and turn it into a game. So we've got some score at the top of the screen, and it's this element here. We're actually going to try and turn that into like a red team, blue team kind of vibe. So let's jump into doing that. Would have been handy if I had it open. That would be the first mistake I made. So to do this, there's a couple of things we need to do. We'll do color the Manny red or blue, depending on their team. We're going to need some sort of team component, I suppose. We're going to want to have the UI based on that. So we're in the editor. Okay, so we're going to have one player. I'm going to go to the overlay for the HUD. Starting to know our way around this now at this point. So we've got this UI. We've got 0 here. Thank God this isn't bound, but it does mean that we're updating it somehow. So if I go to find references by name, we've got a game mode reference that is updating our score. Now, game mode is only available on the server, so we need to use the game state for this. So let's go and create ourselves a game state. What we can do in the world settings is just go find this GM shooter, create a new BP class game state base. Call that GS_shooter. And we basically want to move all the information about team score over to the game state. So we will go to the class settings and we'll implement the interface they've got there called get team score. Oh, sorry, it's called BPI shooter. And we've got this team score here. Okay. So let's open GM Shooter and have a look at what their implementation is. I've realized I was just doing half of that on the other screen. Sorry about that. I'm actually talking into the mic, so that's good. Okay, so we've got GM Shooter. We've got an event for incrementing the team score. We've got a interface for getting the team score. We're going to go and find a score from a key map of teams that have a score. Cool. So let's go fix up this interface to start with. So one thing I'll say is in here we have these new params. It's like very last minute. So we'll say team, and then we'll output. We'll do in team, out team, which is just strange. But then we'll do team score. So we've named that a little bit more appropriately. In team, out score. Cool. Although it doesn't matter because we're going to move this. Update bullet UI. One thing I don't like about homogeneous blueprint interfaces is that it doesn't really make sense that whatever the get team score component is or interface is on also has the recognition of what a bullet UI would be. I don't like homogeneous interfaces in that regard. Although if you're making a small enough game, I guess it's fine. Increment team score. Let's find out references for this. Like, where's that coming from? Who calls that? Who increments a score? That's going to inform us as to where we might put our team. So here what we want to do is get game state, and we're going to increment team score on the game state instead. When this is destroyed, increment my team's score when I die. That doesn't so much make sense. So let's get, now that we can see sort of through the mist, we can see that the GM shooter has this stuff. Scores updating the, we have a key map of the scores. We're actually just going to start deleting that, and we're going to remove the interface from here as well. So we don't want that on the game mode, because the game mode is only on the server. We need it on the game state. Sorry, got a bit of a cough coming on. So we want it over here in our shooter. And additionally, because we don't need to pass update bullet UI to the game mode, the player, and then eventually the HUD, and then the UI through a series of nested blueprint interfaces, which is just a wild piece that we found. We will increment the team score, and we'll get the team score, and that will be our BPI shooter sort of game mode stuff, or game state stuff. So we'll start there. For incrementing the team score, yeah, we've got the team byte. We don't need to mention that it's a byte because the type is a byte, so we'll just call it team. And I usually like to use the words like in team, out team, just in case there's other variables inside the functions. Okay, so that BPI setup, the game state has this now. We're going to create a map. We're going to promote this to a variable called team scores. That's not going to work because it's a key map, and you can't. We're just going to have an integer, and it's. How do I change it? How do I change it? Oh, it's up here. I just want an array because it's replicated. Yeah. I just want an array because you can't replicate a key map. Hey AV, nice to see you. Welcome to the stream. What we're doing today is we're just replicating the FPS shooter template, and right now what I'm doing is I'm moving the team scores out of the game mode where no one can see it into the game state where everyone can see it. So first off, I'm gonna set an array element. This is going to be a bit tricky. So we've got a team going over the network here. We are going to find out if that team is valid within the array of team scores, and if it's not, we're going to add it in team. So we've got this index now that is the index, and then the item. Well, we're going to add 1 because we just got 1 kill. Now this is get team score. Sorry, what am I on about? This is get team score, not increment. Let's just cut all this. Let's just get the team score. Okay, so valid, is this team's information valid? And if it isn't, then we're just going to return that the team had 0 score, and otherwise we'll return, whoops, what have I just done? Otherwise we'll return that that team had this much score. So that's the getter. In increment team score, we're going to get the team score here, and then we're just going to straight up set the element in the array. whatever this is +1, because if it's not in there, it's going to be null. It's going to be 0. So we'll check that one more time. If the team isn't in the array, it comes out as 0, which means that we can set the size of the array to the correct size, and we can set the item to +1. Cool. So we're sorted there on incrementing and getting the team score. And this is now replicated, and obviously by default, the game state's always replicated. What we need to do next is make sure that our game mode actually houses that new game state that we've created. So let's just go GS shooter there. Now over here, we've got our team byte goes in here. This makes no sense, by the way. If I die and I fall down to the ground, then my team should have their score implemented. I don't find that to be very smart. So what we're going to do is we're going to go back over to what I would say is sort of the first person core folder, and we're going to create a new blueprint class. And this is going to be an actor component, BP_team_score component. And all this is going to do is it can hold functions and conditions and things about teams. So it doesn't start with tick enabled. That's not necessary. The component does replicate, and it does have a variable that is a byte, which is the team. And then what we can do is we can add some nice functions like isAlly. And so we could, for example, take in a team component like other team comp, and we could have that be a team component object. We could get the team of this, and if they're equal, then that is an ally. And in more complex games where you've got like multiple teams that could potentially be allied at runtime, you can actually have an array here and ask if there's like some sort of alliance. A good example of that is in a game I made where you had civilians and you were the guards, and there were bad guys. The bad guys had no allies. Civilians were allied with the guards, and so team 1 and 2, which is like civilians and guards, were aligned that AI would not fight you, and then team 3 was allied like with no one. It just wanted to kill everybody. But in this case, we're just going to go for a super simple team component like this. One thing I like to do is privatize my important variables and then make getters for them. And these getters, they should never have business logic in them, so they will be const, which means if we try and set something like this, we'll actually get an error, and it'll tell us it's read-only, so because we made it const over here. And we'll also make it pure, because we're not really running any functions, we're just getting a variable. Okay, so that's the team component. For the FPS shooter person, and in fact, we'll go one class down, we'll add a team component here, which means that AI will actually have a team component. And we'll set up, we'll actually need another function for setting the team. So let's go here, set team. We'll make this rep notify, and we'll add an event dispatcher that's team chained. This allows us to bind it in the UI. We'll output the team component so that we know which one we're looking at. Oh, that's when the team changes. Set team. This is important because we're going to be changing the team for each player that spawns into the game. And so to keep a really super simple game going, we're not going to have a lobby. We're just going to have every player that joins the other team or the team with the least people. But first, let's make sure that our original UI is still working. So I don't really mind about this event destroyed. Sure, it's kind of broken. We're going to get the game state. And we'll cast it to GM shooter. ideally. A GS shooter, sorry. Okay, cool. So we've got our game state here. We have, I guess we don't have score updated. So let's go and add that to our game state. So these team scores, they're replicated. Let's actually do a rep notify. And on rep, let's do team scores change. And we'll output GS shooter as the reference. And anytime this on rep happens, this happens. So when we increment scores, set array element actually doesn't trigger a notify. So in Blueprint, what you need to do is actually call the notify. It's actually the same as C++. You need to explicitly tell the notify to trigger. Hey Games of Bobo, nice to see you. We're just in the process of moving some logic around so that we can control the score of the game, so we can actually get this FPS template turned into a replicated game. So it was originally in the game mode, but that isn't going to work because the game mode only exists on the server. So we're moving it over to the game state quickly. Okay, so yeah, like I say, we increment the score here. This is an on-rep variable, which means it's going to trigger this anytime that number changes or that array changes. But increment team score, set array element, that doesn't trigger a rep. You have to do it manually. Increase the volume. Increase the volume. Increase my volume? Or increase the music volume? I'm doing good, Bobo. I'm doing good. I'm gonna try and finish a game today. Animated weapon skins. That's pretty cool. I've done that a few times. I did it for Starship Troopers. And a couple of other little games. Yeah, it's pretty fun. Anything to do with the materials. Yeah, you just gotta go find some material tutorials, I suppose, because what you're ultimately doing is you're panning, you're rotating, you're doing something with the material. If you want to have like an entire movie on there, you can use like little flip books and stuff, but typically like the ones you see in Call of Duty, they're just going to be like patterns that are shifting across on the UVs through a material graph. So you're looking at learning just material shaders in Blueprint, like just Blueprint materials. You don't really need HLSL for it. You'll get a lot out of it just like finding a tech art channel. In fact, there is a tech art channel that I might be able to find quickly. Let's have a look. But yeah, it's called Tech Art, so Unreal Tech Art materials, Unreal Engine. So this guy I really like, Punisher. He's like a big name, obviously, in the Unreal community. So that's a good resource there. Unreal Engine materials and 6 levels of complexity. So I don't even need to have seen this video to know that I respect this guy and that he will make a good video for you. So check that one out. Trying to find like one of the other ones I've seen in the past. Oh look, there's mine. As previously watched, I suppose. This looks good. Like all this tech art stuff here. Like he's playing with UVs here. This is all good stuff. It'll get you kind of into materials there. Maybe try ChatGPT, because it's like if you were really verbose with ChatGPT, you could be like, I need to animate a texture or a material in Unreal Engine so that one tiling pattern texture is panning over a background texture that's static and colored differently, right? So you got like, yeah, Punisher. Get pawned. Punisher. Okay, so it's going to go through this. It's going to be like get some textures, create a new material, add some texture samplers, add a panning node, set the speed, add some texture coordinate nodes, UV, U, and X, so you can multiply the UVs to get speed going. It hasn't mentioned that you need to add a time variable to that panner. I think that might be relevant. Use a blend node or math, depending on how you want to do the overlay. So yeah, there's different ways of doing it. You can use a lerp, you can use just the straight up blend nodes that you have in there, just like right click blend, and then you'll have some options. And then yeah, set a scalar parameter, do some Fresnel, maybe get some more stylization going. It's not too, I mean, it's a good start. If I followed that word for word, I bet you I would hit something, but from what I see there, a quick review, it's pretty good. I'm just going to jump back to the team stuff. Okay, so we have a team component. We've added that to our characters. It has a team. Well, first we're just going to jump over to the AI shooter character and make sure that it, by default, its team is not my team. And to do that, we're going to need to make this team variable visible so that we can edit it by default. So let's say team component. Why can't I edit the variable called team? Did I not just make this instant? Oh, it's private. Well, then that's just dumb. I can't set it. It's private. Unnamed? What are you on about? Why is it unnamed? Compile? Compile? Yeah, I literally can't set it. That's so funny. Okay, well, I guess against my better judgment, I would make this just, well, I can't make it a variable, so we won't do that. But what we will do is on begin play. What's he spawning here? He's spawning himself a weapon? Naughty. Why is that unnamed again? Yeah, we're just going to change this to game state. We're jumping over here around a bit. 3D objects around the weapon. Yeah, like little static mesh components that you could add at runtime depending on an unlock, let's say. Yeah, you could just add those to the weapon. The way I do it is I create a manager. Little static mesh components that you could add. Say. The way I do it is I create save data of the player who's holding the item, and then it will like instantiate a couple of like static meshes. So it's like add static mesh component like this, and then you would like set static mesh. Maybe it's an animated little avatar with like a mouth, like a skeletal mesh. So instead of adding a static, you would add a skeletal, and you'd set the mesh. You maybe set the animation blueprint as well, stuff like that. We did this on guards. We had like hats and stuff that you could wear, and your weapons could have like trinkets on. We've got the AI here. So all I wanted to do was on begin play, on the authority, is just called set team on our team component, and we're just going to set it to 2, and then my red team, blue team are going to be team 0 and 1. Okay, so that's set up. They're on a different team to me. We've got some UI overlay, get team score. Let's go check this out. Right, game state shooter, score updated, source score changed. We ended up calling it. We've got a binding. So let's move this over. Keep our binding. That was from the last episode. Game state shooter, bind to team score changed. You may very well have joined late, so we're going to say that team score changed straight off the bat. So it initializes itself. When this happens, we will run this function. We'll run it off the team of the owning player. So get owning player. Sorry, get owning pawn, I suppose. This may not always work because you might not always have a pawn, but we'll go with it for now. Get comp class. We're going to get a team component. I can always do an episode on it. I can always literally add it to my episode list. Have a look. Come on. So what is it? Replicating weapon trinkets. And in fact, I would even just do it as part of this project. So I'll just add it down here. I'm going to highlight it in orange so that we do it sooner rather than later. In this video, I could do it right now. Let me finish the team stuff and then I'll do it. Let me finish the team stuff first. All right, so yeah, we need to get team. So what's my team's score? That's weird, man. I don't understand this. There's 2 text blocks and only one of them is updating. Okay, let's just fix this. I'm just going to update this UI. We're going to wrap this one in a border, and we're going to make the border blue. We'll give this some padding, 10. We'll go 30. Cool. Copy that border. Delete the inside. Go here. Oh, great, didn't work. Okay, copy. Paste the padding over there. This border is going to be red team. Cool. Blue team, red team. Let's make this centered. Go to this. 15, cool. Right, give this a decent name like TB team 1 score. TB team 2 score. TB meaning text block. Come in here, we actually want to set both of these. And so we're going to go 0. We're going to set team 1 score here. And then we're going to get this. But we're just going to copy it. That. Copy this. You know what I could just do? I could just output get team score. Get teams scores. Get team scores. And then we'll just output in array. Easy. No, I don't really need to do this. I could just be like, oh no, sorry, wrong function. I could just do get team scores. For each of these, we will run a select off of here. Do team score 1 and 2. We'll do array element. So it's 0 and 1. This is the index. Sorted. Team 1, team 2 done. We're not going to have more than that. So that is easy peasy. All right, that's our score. Can you check out the video right now? It's very interesting. And can you replicate it? Which video is that? You're going to have to let me know which video you mean. All right, sweet. So jumping through now, we're looking into checking that that score actually does something, which means I need to die from someone, which means I need to have a team. So a different team. In fact, I could just kill one guy on my own team and that should increment the score. In GS Shooter, we should have a new return, so we'll just pop that in there. Make 2 characters. Yeah, you're gonna have to let me know which video you mean, because I will dupe. Nice. Score didn't go up, and so let's just step through. It's when it gets destroyed is the first problem. So let's do it when this guy dies. That's what we'll do. Is get comp plus team. Yeah. And then we're going to increment the score of the team of the thing that killed you. So we just need to know that that instigator is coming through as something that's actually... We've entered it in chat. It hasn't come up. It is not in the chat that I see. It just says this video, and then the rest of the message is... the rest of the message is dead. There is no link in my view of that chat. Okay, so increment team score. Yeah, we want to put an F9 on here and find out if this is actually... Great job. Just do that for. Oh. Who's the instigator? There's no instigator. Bum, bum, bum. Okay. The weapon creates the bullet. I guess the instigator isn't set up correctly. Instigator is the pawn owner. I would have thought that would be fine. Bang. Pawn owner. Yes, dude. I made a mythic sniper. Or Ganyeth. JT. 26,000 views. Probably good. Just doing a lot of weapon modeling. Blah, 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 blah. I mean, I don't even know what engine he's in, sorry. Yeah, I don't even know what engine that is. But hey, he just got a new view, so good for him. Yeah, it's not Unreal Engine, sorry. Doesn't look like Unreal Engine to me. So why is that not working? Oh, I know why. So yeah, we spawn the actor, but when that actor hits someone, it doesn't have. So BP projectile, it's not sending through the instigator of the damage. Yeah. So you basically just type get oh, it's instigator controller. It's not good. Yes, first person character. This is bad. Because if the person that killed you is no longer in the game, it's just going to bleed out a null ref. I don't really want to get first person controller. It is a controller there. God, that's a terrible design. Problem with controller is if controller is a character with a keyboard, you know, a gamepad person, an actual human just joined into the game. If they fire a grenade, let's say, and then they leave the server, and then the damage gets applied, well, that event instigator is going to be null. So, like, how do you get the team? You're just going to get a bug. Yeah, Blender stuff, yeah. Yeah, I skipped to the end and I saw a bunch of node graphs that are like not something that I'm familiar with. I'll take one more look. It does say that he modeled a mythic gun, and that is the video is about how he modeled a gun, not about how he'd made a material in like Unreal Engine to like you asked, you know, you said how would you animate a skin, so that video is no good. Alright, so apply damage base 25, cool. Self instigator goes through. We're just going to ignore the problem about how that's not going to actually have a person in the event that they disconnect. And then I'm just going to smash this. Bang. No? Okay. Who's the other guy? I literally just like ran away from him. Bang. Okay, cool. Who's the instigator? It's the controller. It's no good. Instigated by a controller. Get pawn. We're gonna get that. Cool. So we should no longer get a bug on. We should actually get a team. Oh, by looking at the effect, can I replicate the effect? I definitely could. I definitely. You gotta be more verbose. I'm flicking between two things. You gotta be really. You gotta treat me like an idiot. Treat me like it's the first time I've ever read text on screen. Because there's a joke about Unreal game dev, by the way, or just working with game devs in general. If you're gonna give me a document with an ask, treat me like I'm 5 years old, so that I know the exacts of what you're asking. Yes, I could replicate. I don't need to look at the video. Yes, I could replicate it, and I could do that in a bit. Where's my guy gone? I needed to know the team. The team definitely didn't go through, so let's debug that a little bit further. We've got two characters running around in the Unreal template. We've edited the score. We've been going for approximately an hour, I would say. We've been going for 38 minutes and we still haven't got the score working, so I'm not super happy about that. What's this guy's team? His team is 0. Let's increment. Team 0, score 1. Set index 0. Index 0 is now 2. This then changes. UI overlay. This should then trigger, which it does. We come in. We've got one entry 0. So for entry 0, we pick team score 1. Oh, for God's sake, I did it the wrong way around. I hate this sometimes. Right, that's the index, that's the element. Okay. Yeah, okay, that's not going to work. Okay, increment the score, please. Cool. Now blue team's got 1. Okay, so now we've got blue team. Let's make red team, blue team. So we go to the game mode. Close everything down. Just go back to basics. GM shooter. We need to create a function that is get best team. Who's going to get game state. Going to get all the players. It's going to loop through this player array. Get that pawn. Get the pump class from the team. Get the team. And then we're going to store a key map. So we'll promote this to a local variable. We'll call this player underscore team, or actually we don't need to do that. Let's not do that. Let's do this as integer array. And we'll basically, actually, a key map is nicer for this. Let's actually do a key map, and I'll tell you why. So we're going to do a double integer key map where we add a key. We're also going to get, or we're going to find, a variable for this team. And when you add a key with a key map, it just overrides it. And if you find nothing, I guess it'll be -1. So the first key will be the team. I could actually make this a byte. So it's just it's teams and players basically is what I'm writing right now. So I'm gonna tally up in this get best team. I'm gonna tally up how many people are on each team, and then I'm gonna say like, oh well, one team's lower than the other, so the best team is team 1 or team 2 for a late join player to connect as. Okay, so we go through every player, we get their team, we find it in the key map, which may be false. We then add for this team, and it's going to be like this +1, and it's like, I guess if this is -1, this becomes 0. Whatever's bigger, this or 0. So what this says now is if we don't find something, it's 0 + 1, which is 1. If we do find something, i.e. it's already 1, this is like 1 or 2 or 3, then it's like, yeah, 3 is bigger, so 3 add 1 is 4, and it just overwrites the value, so it just loops through and just cleans up that key map. So then we come out at the end, and we get the keys. We know there's only 2 teams, so we're just going to do this quick. Just going to hit team 0 and team 1. Sorry, I'm a fool. Get values. Okay, let's do that one more time. Values. So do you want me to make that effect? So I'm still looking at it here. It's like this purple. Yeah, I mean, a lot of that is just, you could just do like Niagara particles with like an orbit spin. That's what a lot of that looks like. Yeah, that's just tons of particles on like a, not an orbit, but you could use vector fields to achieve that effect. But I presume you've already left, so all right, we'll get 0, we'll get 1. Best team to join. If it's select. So first off, if they're equal, we're just going to do a random integer 0 to 2. So it'll be 0 or 1. If it's not equal, then we'll ask if team 0 is more than team 1, and if team 0 is more than team 1, then we'll join team 1, which is just a, so we'll do that. All right, easy. A bit boring for our first half of the episode, but what's wrong with this? All right, cool. So that's the best team. What we're going to do is we're going to override when we spawn a character. I think is just spawn default spawn when using a start point. On restart player, implemented at the end of restart player. That like there's one that's like spawn default pawn 4, and there's one that's like spawn default pawn at transform. But there's no like clear spot that's like both. So player controller. We're just going to use default pawn. No, we're not. Give me the actual pawn, please. Okay, so that's annoying. We're going to do it a different way. FPS shooter character. And we're going to go to begin play somewhere. Who knows where? We'll just go here, event begin play. We'll add a call to the parent function. We'll have a new event server set team. And so, on the authority here, we call this server init team. What are we trying to do? Hey man, yeah, we're setting it up so that we have red team, blue team. Because like by default, it's like you versus the AI. So I've set up a team component. I've moved all the logic from the game mode to the game state. I'm now in the process of setting up the server, initializing your team based on how many people are on each team. So if there's like 4 people on one team and 1 person on the other team, it will always force new players onto the correct team. And then I'll also be setting it up to, for example, team component here, team changed. We will then update color, update well, call it team updated, and then we'll set the color here for the mesh. We'll do it for first and third person, and we'll do some colors there. Team color. Yeah, man, it's been a long one. I'm not used to talking to people on stream, so someone popped in and asked me if I could make a particle system. I was like, I definitely can, but right now I'm doing teams. That's always fun. One thing I like to do when I do my comments is color them. I've done this, like any project I've ever been on that you ever have the luxury of seeing the blueprints for, you'll find that I color all my comment modes. So green for init, blue for functionality. So you can basically look at the init and be like, how heavy is the init? You can look at the blue and be like, this is called somewhat frequently. And you can look at the purple, which is where the replication happens. And I like to do that just for like managing it. Yeah, it looks like they just called me something and then left. And that's all. That's okay. That's okay. Server init team, get game state. So we cast this to shooter. We're gonna get best team from here. Best team. Where did I put that function? Put it in the game mode. I mean, that's fair, because I was going to do it from here, because you're supposed to be able to override this. Because the game mode is the thing that spawns the pawn. Maybe I need to ask GPT. Comment colors of file colors don't seem to transfer. Yeah. No, it's the editor settings, right? You can actually copy your editor settings for a project into like a higher level config INI in your like UE4 or 5.4, right? And that'll apply to all projects in 5.4. It's called just like game user settings, and then there's like engine user settings or something. I'm gonna go to GPT. GPT this. I'm looking for which game mode function to override to edit the spawned pawn in Unreal Engine. Because there is a game mode function for it. Maybe it is Restart Player. New player. Get pawn. Oh my god. Apparently is valid. Okay. So now I don't need to init the team from the shooter character, which I would have preferred. I want to do it from the game mode, which is server only already. Yeah, there's loads of little secret things in here. Like you can come in here in the game mode and you can do a whole ton of stuff. You can like, for example, you can change the default pawn that the player is going to start with based on their saved data of a class that they picked in a menu in a separate map. So you could be like, oh, I want, you know how in like Legacy Steel and Sorcery you pick to be like a hunter, a tank, or a warrior, or whatever. That you can use when you get to the game. You can actually like request that data from the player's side, or let the player tell the server or whatever, and then change what class you actually spawn as, which is pretty neat. Anyway, we're over here. Event on Restart Player. Sweet. Get the best team. It has a controlled pawn, so we know he's got a character now. We're going to get component by a class. Problem with the game instance is it is really only client side. So that's a great place to hold local stuff, save data, load in screens, whether you've been to the menu or not. You know how like sometimes you start a game and you'll have like a splash menu, and then you hit the menu. Maybe you go play some rounds and you come back to the menu, but you don't want to play the splash again. That's a great place for the game instance because that's like per client. That's like for the duration of your entire like play to quit. The game instance exists across all places, but it's not great in any replication scenario because it only exists on the client. So we're going to set this guy's team. Yeah, team component, set team. Then we're going to do it by byte. Alrighty. So now my characters should start with different teams. However, I do also need to actually change the color to see that actually taking effect. So what we need to do quickly now is jump over to these materials. We've got Mani 0 and 1. I don't know what that relates to on the actual character. Head and legs, torso. Right, so we need to do both. Hopefully there's a way to just edit the straight up material parameter for color. So we've got paint tint. Let's just try change that. Let's jump over to this material. Make sure that paint tint is 2 words and not 1 word. Where's paint tint? Logo tint. Well, there's one really quick way to find out. Set vector parameter on materials. And then we just set paint pin, and we select. So we do color to vector, and then we select up of here. Get our team. This type of selector, plug that in there. Cool thing about this is you can add more elements to it. Although apparently you can't remove those elements. Okay, so team 0 was blue. Team 1 was red. A bit darker. That's team updated. Wait. Yeah, it didn't like that. What's happening here? Attempt to access index 1 from a map that doesn't have an index. Yeah, fair. There. Let's just make life simple by just initializing this with 2 values. So my dude's blue. That dude's also blue. We're both blue. Not cool, man. The idea was, yeah, I'm glad. It's like a whole different realm of like learning, and it also forces you to code some things in a good way, because you've got to like decouple things. You've got to have your functionality like almost like one track, straight through, easy to access. Like there's so many things that learning to replicate in Unreal helps you with when it comes to writing code. In particular, just like knowing where to put stuff, and sort of having your own standards of where to, not your own standards, but you kind of have to adhere to the Unreal standards. So, all right, we got player team. We got this random int here that's supposed to happen if the 2 teams are equal to 0. So firstly, somehow we got one person. I suppose, yeah. Oh, that's funny. Should probably initialize the team. Yeah, I should probably initialize the team. Where's the team component? Edit the team component. Team. I feel like 255 would be like invalid. You can't do -1 in a byte. Yeah, I've got some books up here that are game design patterns and programming patterns. I still haven't read through them fully, but like most of it's like eating eggs. But it's good. It's good to just know that I'm doing something right. I never did a traditional programming course, so I'll just like reevaluate, validate my own biases. Team updated, mesh, first person mesh, paint tint, set vector parameter values, paint tint. Yeah, that works. Don't know why I'm looking at that again. Okay, so it comes in, it finds out that you're on team 0, which is pretty funny. Yeah, so now, okay, what we got here? What's my team? My team is 255. That's not good. As long as it's not equal to 255. In fact, what we could do is, because we know 255 is valid, is like, is this, as long as this is not equal to 255, then we'll actually return a valid when we get team. And that way I can just branch off of these things. Hey, if that's valid, do it. Not valid, don't. Okay, so now when we hit play, got a blue guy, and I've got another blue guy. So that's super cool. Okay, so it comes in. I've got one player. He's got a pawn. That pawn has a team component. That team is 255. So we get down here to these integers of how many people are on each team. This should technically be 250. Yeah, this should technically be 255. I don't know why. Don't know why it's not. 255. It should have added 255. Oh, it is. Okay. Team 1, team 0. Oh, and then it's getting element 0. Okay, sorry, I'm being a fool. Find team 0. Find team 1. 0, 1. I did this wrong. Okay, now play. First off, team 0. Second person comes in. Spawns. Team 1. Perfect. Red guy, blue guy. Math, everybody. If I press, oh, I can't press F8 right now. If I run over to the other person, who I think is over here, he's blue, I'm red. Awesome. Kill that guy. Red team gets 1 point. And now, so now we're at the stage where we need to actually put in the camera for the death. Oh look, we've been going for an hour. There's no music. Okay, so that wraps up an entire hour on just setting up team, which is way longer than it really needed to be. Got some really weird stuff going on with the animation. So that's going to really bug me. So I'm going to fix it. ABPTP. We'll go rifle. So I don't care about this your thing. Like, this your thing was a bad idea. I'm not going to do it. Let's get rid of that variable. We're going to be 0 on the... Oh, I did this the wrong way around. Are you joking me? Did those properties the wrong way around when I was like, oh, they should really rename... I sat there on the last episode, I'm like, they should really name their axes. Oh, and then I named it pitch and yaw the wrong way around. Yeah, there we go. This is pitch. This is yaw. I made some animations that we don't need anymore, so I'm gonna go and delete those. Strafe. Let's go to those assets. Yes, these strafes, they can go away. That one. I'm gonna do the top half separately to the bottom half. So when move. Why is this not moving? I suppose I could do it with this. Okay, so the pitch can go up and down. The IK on the hand thing is fun. Means when you pick up the grenade launcher, it's going to break right now. But what I want to do is when I move to the left, I don't want that spine bone to rotate. Yet seems like when I'm moving to the left, like this is the AO for the rifle. Where's it's like a left, right, third person movement. Let me check one more time because I'm missing something at the moment. is it the state machine? Run? Does this idle walk run? Just take strafe off. Don't care about strafe. Perfect. No. Yeah, that's perfect. Okay, so we do need strafe. Turns out we do need strafing, but we only want this to do anything to the bottom half. So we're going to blend by bone, layered blend per bone. We will do a layer setup here that's like spine. I can't remember. It might have an underscore, it might not. So let's go find out. It does have an underscore. So spine 01. We will do that, and then we will do that for the upper. Let's just add some movement. Oh, yeah, so much movement on this character. Pretty crazy. Just do that. Oh, come on. Is it like the pelvis? Use the whole pelvis. I want that upper body to be like dead still. Yeah, oh yeah, depth, yeah. Yeah, it could be. Probably 3 though. It's just spite you. Maybe you're right, maybe it did need to be 4. Now the depth, I think what that does is like from spine 1 and then up that body, it's like a lerp, like you're fading off the input that you're applying. So what am I doing wrong here? Why am I doing this wrong? So the issue is the entire pelvis is turning. So then if I don't apply a counter on the bone blend underneath, nothing's gonna happen. Well, everything that's rigged to that bone has been rotated. I mean, we could let that be, and then in the anim graph, do a transform. Transform bone. And we'll do 101. Like you say, we'll give it. We're going to ignore translation. We will replace the rotation with that. There should be, like you were saying, there should be a blend scale. It's alpha. I'm unsure. Let's try this though. This is like literally the same thing I had before. Oops. Roll pitch yaw. Pitch yaw. 90 degrees. Oh, it really doesn't want me, even though I'm replacing the rotation. I'm replacing it in world space. It's like doesn't care. Wow. Okay. What am I doing wrong there? It's something. It's now if I play with the pitch. Yeah, it kind of works. It still looks up and down. Yeah, lowercase or uppercase. I don't think it matters in Blueprint. Yeah, like this one's lower, and then this one's upper, and it's working in both cases there. I have got it working now. And so have a pitch, add movement in that direction. It's just got all this wobble, and the reason I'd have to replace this in world space for it to be like nice and static. And then of course this rotation would need to be like whatever the actor's forward vector is. We'll call this forward rotation. Is that variable not there? Yeah, we'll set this forward rotation. It's just active forward, right? It's just this rotation. Right. Now we could multiply, I think. Let's roll pitch yaw, right? So let's multiply this by a vector. Roll pitch yaw. Great. Let's use the yaw. It's just not. I don't think Unreal's name or case sensitive. I think that's one of the good things. Oh man, these guys have been on like some sort of street drug. Let's just bake him. Anyway, this is my game. This is my game now. Gotta run around picking up little packets. Or picking up little. Let's not talk about drugs. Okay, so moving on. Got that guy. I did it wrong. It needs to have 90 on there. Guys looking at the wall again. Interesting that I've yawed that in the world space, get that your is like over to the right. That's really bizarre. We're getting close though. Epic Call of Duty, yeah. I spent too long making games and now this is me. It's just like running along like this the whole time. It's like I used to make games in Unity, but now I make them in Unreal and everything is Z up. Lean into it. Just lean into it. Good name for a game. Lean into it. Okay, so why is my first question. But why? Oh, would you look at that? Show collision. Maybe I could just subtract 90 from this number. Oh yeah, sweet. Let's go back to oh, you're both in the same place. That's awesome. I didn't mean to kill that guy. Story of my life. That joke, nice. Hello, fellow kids. Yeah, sweet. Look at this. Now we've got like strafing. I love that strafing in both directions is literally the same thing. But now that I've got this broken down a bit nicer from my own liking, what I can do is go into that strafe offset again. Hopefully I can, no, sorry, not that one. Not that one. This one. The run animation, this one here. And where I don't like the idea that he's technically sort of like backwards running, I would obviously prefer his legs to just be going that way. I'm going to take a jab at mirroring this animation. So, sadly, there is no automatic button for mirroring an animation. Let's go to Super Google. Next question. Mirror an animation sequence in editing. Mirror table. Create a mirror table. Right click, create a mirror table. Oh yeah, cool, dude. I'll catch you if I'll catch you again on another day. Mirror data tab, yeah. Yeah, hopefully I'll catch you on the next one, or in a few episodes, whenever, and you'll see where we get to. And when I get to the point where I actually have a itch game or Steam game or whatever, then I'll throw you a link. I'll have a play. Have a good one, sir. Mirror data tab, yeah. Literally just a tab. Information editor, click the viewport settings gear. In the details panel, find mirror animation. Open the sequence asset. Set details mirror animation. Maybe it's a plug. Oh. Gorka. Seriously? Very bad. Who's got a sim game? Bear. One bear versus a human man. 100 men. A human man? 100 men. Someone was like, okay, so basically just mirror them somewhere else. Fair. I believe you wouldn't give us this, Gorka. Can I not like scale this? Rate scale, yeah, sure. What a joke! Even if I manage to make this mirror table, like I can't find the mirror tab.
Attack. Okay, so this is the normal thing. As I'll probably do it for you too. Okay, this is very easy. Now very
Yeah, but that doesn't export it. It mirrors it at runtime.
and
Nope. It's mirroring it at runtime. Okay, well, everybody, that was fun. May as well just ignore the last 20 minutes of this video because I ain't fixing that. But hey, look at that. We're running around. That's pretty fun. Okay, so I should be able to see a red guy. And when I see him, shoot him. Or a blue guy, I guess. Cool. So one thing I immediately realized is, despite having red hands, I thought I was gonna kill a red guy. So we'll have to fix that. But before we do that, where are we at on the stream right now, time-wise? We've got maybe another 30 minutes, and so we will get the. Let's jump over to our info. Weapon trinkets can wait. Team component, cool, green. Color money, red and blue, cool, green. Shouldn't have took as long as it did, but that happens. Yellow, spectate. Not spectate, but like have a little countdown timer. I think I've got it down here actually. Cool, so we updated the game score basically. I think that's done in a little nicer fashion. Let's close everything that we don't need, and we're going to jump into the FP character. Oh, sorry, FP shooter. First person shooter. In here, attached to the mesh, we're going to have a spring arm. It's going to have a camera attached to that. Spring arm will be will the spring arm be attached to the pelvis? So that means like wherever it moves, it's not going to be smooth. So we're actually going to attach this to the capsule, and we're going to update it on tick when we're dead for the owning player. We're not going to do that at all. We're actually just going to spawn a camera. Let's jump into our gameplay expansion, make a new blueprint class. It's just an actor, BP underscore spectate cam. This is going to have a spring arm, and it's going to have a camera on the end that is what we're going to view target upon death. It's going to be raised up something like this, and on tick, we're going to, well, first off, we're going to have a character reference, which is the FP shooter that spawned us. And we are going to have that be instance editable exposed on spawn. And on tick we'll get the mesh, like the 3P mesh. And we will set actor location and then enter towards the socket for the pelvis of that mesh. The current location is just an actor location. We're going to tick along there, and we're going to use delta seconds, and we're going to use saves to interp speed. It's like follow speed. So that'll be cool. It's a little camera on Event Begin Play as well. What we need to do is set owner something for this. Mesh owner. Owner only see the first person. So what I want to do is that's interesting. Pattern construction. Why is this uneditable? I don't know why I can't change owner no C on this mesh here, but we're going to do it anyway. Well, first we're actually just going to go to first person mesh. Set owner no C. through on the first person mesh because we're about to like change point of view basically. I don't know if we need to set owner no C to false on here, but we'll see. I would have thought this would be owner no C on the third person mesh, but for the spring arm as well, we'll add some lag and some rotation lag. Let's just make this like 5 and 5. We'll add like event look or IA look, so it's like mouse look, I guess. And in fact, the character should still be influencing control rotation. So we'll just use control rotation on this. Use pawn control. If this component is placed on a pawn, should it use... Okay, well it's not. So on tick, what we'll do as well is we'll get the character's control rotation. Set the spring out. So control, set rotation, set world rotation, do the control rotation. Well, let's see how that feels. Back in our first person shooter, when we die, we need to, so we get this on rep, we init the ragdoll, and then, okay, new function was like init spectate, on rep dead, we'll init spectate, do locally controlled. If we are, spawn an actor from the class, it'll be the spectate cam, get the player controller, 0. Maybe we'll just get controller. Set view target with blend to this new actor. Make this to a variable as well. Make sure that when this actor gets destroyed, that we also remove any spectate cam. We don't want those lying around. Blend time, 0.5. It's good. Lockout going. That's going to jump us over. We'll use get actor eyes. That's the viewpoint here. So let's try that. Let's try die. Character wasn't set up. The one thing I said I would do correctly. Oh right, yeah, so it's colliding against the mesh. So what we need to do is, we've got two options. We could move the orbit position higher up so it never collides with the mesh, but the point there is it's never, which means it's possible. It doesn't collide with visibility. So I think this is probably tracing on the camera channel. So let's just use visibility instead. So now you get this moment of like, oh no, I died, and then we can have like a 3, 2, 1, hey, you died, or that sort of stuff going on the screen. So the next thing to do, what time have I got? Yeah, I've got another 20 minutes. So next thing after that is making sure that we've got like a UI that tells us how long it's going to be until we actually get to restart. And so let's create that timer. Just call it death duration, like 3 seconds. Might be way too long. Let's do 5.5. On Rep Dead. An event called Death Duration. Create a new event. It's a function. We'll call this like respawn owner. So first we depossess. Get controller. Depossess. 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 Yeah. And then after that we enter game mode. This is all running on the server, so we can restart player. Let's try that. So he should. Yeah, he should have. Could have worked. That's a shame. Of course, it doesn't work. Maybe there needs to be a little delay in here. It's not. How about 1 second? Interesting. Is it ever calling? Oh, look at that. I know why it's happening. It's a variable last controller. So I depossess, and then obviously we don't have a controller, so that was silly. All right, so back to it. We're just going to shoot a guy. Bam. So then he responds, racking up the kills on the blue team. What I'd love is for these darts to actually stick into the target. That would be pretty fun. And then actually dart them against the wall. That would also be pretty funny. Yeah, so we're going to start getting issues with the ragdolls that are on the ground, I guess. No, apparently not. What we are going to get an issue with is simulating a bunch of 100-bone ragdolls. So we should definitely clean those up sooner. Ragdoll duration is going to be reduced a whole bunch. 5 seconds. Interesting. I think what happened there is I killed a character before it had a controller. So we're just gonna wait. I think other ones were screwed. You blue? Why are you blue? No, you're not blue. Why are you not blue? Okay, that's a bad idea. What needs to happen is on lifespan, this needs to like at least be more than 1 second. You're just gonna die the moment you spawn. And we can do an effect for that. Otherwise, basically, you can just. I mean, we're going to change the spawning logic, but. We will change the spawn logic for this game because we're going to need more control with that. Just really have some debug tools. Yeah. Happened again. Not about game time since creation, it's something else that's causing that bug, which we are going to fix. How would I know that this has been called? It's just. Okay. Increment an integer. This is the integer.
have more power than you might be giving yourself credit for. If you have something that's going on in your life right now that's challenging, painful,
What's taken down? I don't understand.
a reminder to take a little bit better care of yourself. It's worth it. You can have this feeling anytime you choose.
What? Why did you just spawn? Some sort of rule somewhere that's like restarting a player after the possibly the destruction of the actor. So maybe we just wait for this actor to be destroyed. I would like to know where that logic is coming from. That one did get destroyed, and then this did happen. Team with the least players is probably 255. So, get best team. That'd be 255. Something that we wrote earlier is team ID starts at 255. There's an invalid. And we've got 12 minutes. At least we've got the team cup sorted. Just kind of get the respawning working. And then I would have liked to get a thing that's like, oh, and then you hit 10 kills, and so therefore now it's a game. And then I can add some UI to that. I don't know where I'm looking though. All I know is that when this gets destroyed, so let's say it's like 5 seconds. If I call this function and I get the last controller, I unpossess, restart the player after say 3 seconds. 2 seconds later, the character will break. So, bam, 1, 2, 3. Respawns 2, and then now he's broke, right? Because he's gone and possessed a new character. Let's do find references. Avoid all references. Unpossess, when it's destroyed, spawn a new player and possess them. Nope. That is natively managed, my friend. So Someone in the BP Shooter controller template wrote up some logic for like hard spawning a new character at a random location. Yet game mode has that. It's called restart player. And you can also choose restart player at player start at a certain transform, so you can do all these other things. But what you shouldn't really do is just spawn a character and possess it, because then you're just skipping all of the game mode flow. So as a template example for best practice in that regard, maybe they're trying to step away from these dependencies, and maybe it's a good thing. But so far, if you want to stick to Unreal at least, shouldn't you use the classes? Okay, so now we only want to die for 1.5 seconds. So yeah, let's put that back down to 1.5. But I am. New respawns. Never breaks. Just run 'em. We still do need to do some spawn management, but now that we're not managing that away from the game mode, what we can do is we can override the native function for choose player start somewhere in here. Choose player start. And so what you can do with that is check if there's players around the spawn points, and if there aren't, then you can spawn there. And if there's a player at every single spawn point, then just pick a random. If there's enemies at every spawn point, I should say. So I think we're getting close to the end of this one. I'm going to add a "you died" screen to this UI, to this iteration. So we've got template expansion. We're going to add a user interface widget, user widget underscore, and it died. It's just going to have text smack in the middle. Oh, this screen. We're going to wrap this with an overlay. I prefer overlay to canvas panel because canvas panel requires a lot of paint passing for all the offsets, but overlay is a little bit cheaper. Text block. Dot. Red. This is going to be a large font. It's going to have animation to fade in. We're going to start this text here with the scale. We're just going to ramp it up over that 1.5 seconds. We're going to take a look at the scale. We're going to do this kind of curve, so it sort of slows down at the other end. Blend neighbor, never seen that before. Okay, so we'll compile that, and now when we play this, it's like maybe just want this starting point to be a lot smaller, and I would also like it to ramp up a lot sooner. And then that's going to go away. That's just going to get removed. First person shooter here. We've got an on-rep dead event. We've got a init ragdoll, init spectate. If you're the local player controller, you're going to spectate. I guess in the spectator, we could put the UI. create widget, died, add to viewport. At the same time, like get HUD, or, it's just get player controller 0, get HUD. It's HUD computer. Get HUD. Yep. No, we didn't actually promote this HUD shooter. No, we never promoted this, but this is our game HUD. Let's make sure that's promoted. We're going to set the visibility of this to collapse whilst we're down, I think. Or at minimum, we could hide everything except the game score. Yeah, what I'm going to do, open this, I'm going to cut this horizontal box. Great. Print. Use a widget underscore team scores. Paste that in here. Desired size. And back here, we're going to find this game state score change. I'm just going to cut this. Paste it in here. Now what we've got is a reusable score element because we've moved it. Scores here. Yeah, and so in our UI overlay, we can just grab the team scores element. Right in the middle, give it, say, 100 units of padding, maybe just 50. The reason I wanted to do that is so that I can go back to, we can collapse this here, but we can also just add this element now. It's just like standalone, it's just going to work. So that's going to carry on updating basically. So we've got the UI overlay there, HUD shooter, that's all good, BP, GM, spectate. So we're going to collapse the game HUD, but then we're obviously going to make it non-hit testable again anytime this actor gets destroyed. And bear in mind, this actor is local to the player, it's not replicated, it's just a local spectate cam with no major controls. So that's that part. That's collapsed, spectate cam there, FPS shooter. See if all that works. Well, one thing that we also want to do is we want to open up that died on begin struct here. We want to grab that fade in and play the animation. Didn't remove the widget. Spectate. Yeah, it creates this widget. We need to promote this to a variable. Live widget. And when this finishes set durability of this, we're going to also remove the parent on this one. If I was using a stack or something, I'd probably just have this widget always there, so I don't need to create and remove it at runtime. So we'd manage it a little bit differently, but for a prototype, I think it's fine. Another thing as well is like, I don't know. I'm just gonna wrap this with a blur. It just doesn't feel very like super neat, or something about it is missing. So I'm just gonna add a blur that also goes to like 3 over time. And maybe like a border as well. This can start transparent. Actually, what we'll do is we'll color it the color we want it to be. And we'll set its render opacity to 0. We will. Oh no, that's going to set the render opacity of the whole thing. That's not going to work. Okay, so we are going to use opacity of this. So be that. Be it again here. And then we'll key it up to like somewhere. See how that feels. It's a little bit of animation. Weak. Don't tell me we still didn't remove it at the end. Did remove it at the end. Okay. The cam doesn't die until much later. Just realized. So what we'll do is receive like sign controller. No, okay. What's going on here? Find pawn, possess pawn changed, and that's when we're going to review all this stuff. Not on destroy, because destroy actually happens a little bit later. This in begin play here. Another thing I want to do is when you die, I want to set your get control rotation and then set control rotation. I want to combine roll pitch. I just want to add like -40, I guess, because I want it to be like kind of looking down. We're generally going to be looking on sort of a plane. I want you to sort of fall down and then have a little bit of an angle down. Maybe I could just control that manually. Roll pitch yaw? I guess not. I feel like that just rotated me. I feel like that was the wrong direction. We'll get there eventually. There we go. So it kind of looks down. That's right. Definitely not right. Yeah, this one is pitch here. So you get a little bit downward. Angle when you die. That's funny. Yeah, tomorrow what we're going to do is run through UI for this. So instead of a stream where we make UI from another game, we're going to make UI for this game. So we're going to make the intro, the outro. We'll do some score events and maybe a main menu that allows us to pick some things, and that should really wrap up like kind of the context of a game, plus some like ending the mode, if you like. So one thing we could actually do is in the GM shooter right now, we could, in the GES shooter, where score changes, state of the game. When we increment the score, if yeah, so if we then go and get a reference to this index, and it's more than equal to like score target, which we'll just do as 10. Then basically end the game, which is like end match. That's for turn based. Let's get the game mode. Get game mode. Set state. Round state. There is an inbuilt version of this, but we'll just code our own. But essentially, yeah, you could just print here as like end game, and we'll do that as a multicast from here. So yeah, we'll sort that out tomorrow, and then we'll wrap up this little stream of looking into the FPS shooter. We might add some artwork as well, so that'll be pretty fun. Yeah, thanks for joining as usual, and we'll see you in the next one. Oops.